Have you ever wondered why some people get a free pass while you feel targeted by everyone around you? It often feels like you are walking around with an invisible sign that invites mistreatment from toxic people. Why do mean people seem to single you out specifically while ignoring everyone else in the room today? What if you could change your entire social dynamic just by flipping one simple psychological switch right now? The truth is that mean people target you because of specific behaviors, signaling you are an easy target. Like a beacon for a lighthouse, your current behavior tells others exactly where they are allowed to land. These subtle signals broadcast a message that you can be walked over without facing any real consequences later. Toxic people are experts at spotting these invitations for disrespect before you even say a single word out loud. But here's the secret advantage. Identifying and fixing these behaviors will immediately stop their mistreatment of you. When you master your reaction control, you communicate a new level of self-respect that demands a positive response. Implementing the 3-second rule allows you to pause and choose respect over the constant need for likability. Once you start to project an unbothered energy, those who used to bother you will suddenly back away. Changing how you present yourself essentially cuts off the easy access to you that toxic people always crave. You will find that mean people naturally lose interest when they realize their old tactics no longer work. Surprisingly, this powerful transformation does more than just repel the bullies and the critics in your social life. Fixing the behaviors that invited mistreatment also causes good people to treat you with much more dignity. Your new boundaries act as a filter, attracting healthier relationships while pushing the toxic ones far away. When you value yourself, good people recognize that standard and begin to mirror that same high-level respect. It is a powerful shift that changes your entire reality by simply adjusting the signals you send out. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a master of your own social environment and energy. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. It's not about them, it's about you. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the specific habits that will finally make you truly unbothered today. Have you ever noticed how some individuals seem to attract toxic people like a magnet while others don't? It is not a coincidence or bad luck that makes you a frequent target for these aggressive personalities. Every movement you make sends a loud message about how much access to you someone actually has. Toxic people are experts at reading the subtle micro-behaviors that signal you might be an easy target. When your shoulders begin to droop, you are silently broadcasting a lack of confidence to everyone around. This small physical shift tells the world that you are carrying a heavy weight of self-doubt today. Lack of eye contact is another silent invitation for others to step over your personal boundaries. Looking away too quickly suggests that you are uncomfortable claiming your rightful space in the room. Excessive apologetic language creates a dynamic where you are constantly seeking permission just to exist. Saying "I am sorry" too often essentially tells others that your needs are less important than theirs. Mean people feel invited when they see these specific physical cues radiating from your daily presence. They look for those visible facial changes that betray your internal discomfort during a tense conversation. A slight flinch or a tightening of the jaw can signal that their words are hitting home. Perhaps the most revealing signal is a shaky voice when you finally try to speak your truth. This physical symptom of stress tells the aggressor that they have successfully gained control over your emotions. Understanding these signals is the first step toward reclaiming your power and achieving total reaction control. You must prioritize respect over likability if you want to stop the cycle of being mistreated. When you stop projecting vulnerability, you start setting the stage for real consequences for those who push. Becoming truly unbothered requires a conscious effort to rewrite the physical script your body is performing. By adjusting your posture and voice, you close the door on those who seek to exploit you. Next, we will explore a powerful technique called the 3-second rule to help you master this change. Every time you snap back or try to defend yourself, you're handing over your power on a silver platter. To stop the mistreatment, we have to look at the first mistake almost everyone makes. The first step to stopping mistreatment is to stop reacting to everything people say to you. Immediate reactions to mean comments are identified as a significant mistake that keeps you trapped. Reacting quickly to provocations gives the other person complete power over your feelings and mood. This speed demonstrates to others that they can control you simply through the words they choose. Reactions to mean comments often include visible facial changes that toxic people look for immediately. Do you feel your voice shake when you try to stand up for yourself? A shaky voice is a physical symptom of reacting to a comment instead of staying unbothered. Defending yourself is categorized as a reaction that allows toxic people to keep the pressure on. Explaining yourself is another reaction that mistakenly gives them more influence over your personal narrative. Why does proving them wrong always feel like you've already lost the entire exchange? Attempting to prove someone wrong is just another reaction that signals you are emotionally hooked. A toxic person is like a fire. Your reaction is the oxygen that keeps them burning. Toxic people utilize these reactions from others as a vital source of energy or satisfaction. Choosing respect over likability means you stop providing the fuel they need to feel powerful. Gaining reaction control is about protecting your peace and limiting their access to you. When you remain unbothered, you force them to face the consequences of their own toxic behavior. The 3-second rule will help you pause before giving away any more of your valuable energy. Every word you say in self-defense is a victory for the person trying to break you. By withholding your reaction, you reclaim the power they are so desperately trying to steal. They aren't just looking for an argument. They are looking for your energy. I want you to try something that feels completely unnatural but works like magic. If reactivity is the fuel for toxic people, then this rule is the fire extinguisher. Have you ever wondered what happens to a bully when the fun suddenly stops? To master your reaction control, you must first learn to starve their need for energy. The secret weapon is a simple 3-second pause that shifts the power back to you. When someone throws a mean comment your way, do not rush to defend yourself. Instead of snapping back, take a breath and slowly count to 3 in your head. This intentional delay breaks the rhythm of their attack and forces a sudden pattern interrupt. While you count, maintain a perfectly calm face and a steady, unbothered expression. Remaining completely calm when buttons are pushed makes the interaction lose all its twisted appeal. A flat voice and an empty gaze can leave a provocateur feeling deeply confused and powerless. It is like a computer program crashing because it didn't get the expected emotional input. Once the 3 seconds are up, give them the shortest, flattest answer possible. A simple, monotone okay is often the most effective way to shut them down. You might also try saying, "That's interesting," without showing any hint of personal frustration. Sometimes a brief and dismissive cool is all it takes to end the conversation entirely. These gray rock tools prove that you value your own peace over their drama. When you stop reacting, you effectively limit their access to you and your emotional state. Can you handle just 3 seconds of silence to reclaim your dignity and self-respect? Choosing respect over likability means you no longer care if they find you boring. They want a show, but you are giving them nothing but a blank screen. This is how you enforce consequences without ever raising your voice or losing your cool. By the time you hit 3 in your mind, the entire game has already changed. Imagine sitting in a high-stakes meeting when a coworker suddenly makes a sharp, dismissive comment. They expect you to stumble, get defensive, or quickly apologize to smooth over the awkward tension. Instead of reacting instantly, you choose to implement the 3-second rule to reclaim your inner peace. You sit perfectly still, maintaining a calm face and a flat voice while the room goes silent. For exactly 3 seconds, you simply look at them, letting their words hang heavily in the air. This unexpected silence causes the provocateur to become confused as they wait for your emotional explosion. After the pause, you deliver the word "okay" with a completely neutral and unbothered tone. By saying "okay," you demonstrate that their attempt to rattle you has failed completely and utterly. Toxic people thrive on your reaction, but your flat response denies them the satisfaction they crave. When you prioritize respect over likability, you stop teaching others that they have free access to you. Remaining calm makes the interaction no longer enjoyable, causing the provocateur to eventually stop their behavior. Your reaction control signals that you are the one holding the cards in this professional setting. This simple shift ensures that there are subtle consequences for anyone trying to push your buttons. Watch as the coworker looks away, unsure of how to handle your quiet, steady confidence. Inside, you feel a surge of strength because you didn't let their negativity penetrate your shield. Your colleagues notice the shift, seeing a leader who remains composed under even the most unfair pressure. Once the enjoyment of the game is gone, the bully will naturally look for an easier target. This strategy works beyond the boardroom, transforming how you handle every toxic person in your life. Every time you use this technique, you reinforce the boundaries that protect your mental and emotional energy. Now that you have mastered the pause, it is time to explore the deeper mechanics of boundaries. But this isn't just about silence. It's about where you choose to invest your internal spirit. You see, strong people aren't just loud. In reality, their attention is incredibly expensive to earn. Are you spending $100 worth of energy on a person worth only 10 cents? Think of your daily energy like a bank account that most people leave completely wide open. True strength comes from being selective about which issues actually deserve your precious emotional currency today. Strong individuals carefully decide who gets access to their peace and who gets left outside the gates. In sharp contrast, weak people waste their lives by reacting to every single thing they see. This constant reactivity leaves them feeling perpetually tired, overwhelmed, and drowned in completely unnecessary stress. If you are always exhausted, maybe it is because you are fighting battles that do not matter. Remaining unbothered isn't about being cold. It is about protecting your most valuable and limited internal resources. Reaction control is the ultimate weapon when dealing with toxic people who desperately crave your negative attention. Choosing respect over likability means you stop trying to please every person who does not deserve you. When you react to every bark, you effectively become a slave to every dog on the street. High-value individuals know that not every petty insult requires a response or even a second thought. Do you want to be constantly tired, or do you want to be truly respected by others? Most people are emotionally bankrupt by noon because they let internet trolls dictate their inner state. Your presence is a privilege, and not everyone earns the right to trigger your deeper emotions. Start treating your focus like pure gold instead of throwing it away on every passing critical comment. Using the 3-second rule helps you filter out the noise so you can keep your personal power. Strength is knowing that some people simply aren't worthy of a single minute of your valuable time. Reactivity is a trap that keeps you small, stressed, and easily controlled by the opinions of others. Setting clear boundaries ensures that toxic people face the direct consequence of losing your valuable energy. Reclaim your power by deciding today that your peace is no longer up for any negotiation. Distinguish yourself by choosing focused silence over the chaos of reacting to everything and everyone. Weakness is being a slave to every comment. Strength is choosing who is worthy of your time. This leads us directly to step 2 of our transformation, avoiding the dangerous trap of the why. When you explain your decisions, are you being helpful, or are you simply begging for permission? Why do you feel like you've done something wrong just for making a simple, personal choice? The second step to stopping this treatment is to stop explaining yourself to everyone you encounter. Think about it for a moment. Does a king ever feel the need to explain his crown? Every time you overjustify, you are unintentionally signaling a deep lack of confidence to the world. Weak individuals spend significant time explaining their choices, statements, and even their basic inabilities to others. This habit makes you sound guilty, as if you have actually done something wrong or offensive. Explaining is like leaving your front door unlocked. You're inviting the thief to walk right in. When you over-explain, you are essentially asking for a challenge to your own internal authority. Toxic people interpret your excessive explanations as a desperate need for their external agreement and validation. They see your words not as helpful information, but as a sign you don't trust yourself. Choosing respect over likability means standing firm in your decisions without needing to justify the why. Remember, your time is precious, and you do not owe everyone a roadmap of your thoughts. Practice being unbothered by their curiosity, holding your ground with silence rather than a long defense. If you act like your choice requires an apology, people will treat it like a mistake. Breaking this cycle is essential to reclaiming your power and maintaining control over your own reactions. Stop giving away the why and start focusing on the what that you have decided. Every extra word you speak provides a handle for someone else to grab and pull you. The second you start explaining, you have handed them a knife to cut your decision apart. So, how do you finally shut down the interrogation and stop the cycle of over-explaining? You don't need them to understand your reasons. You just need them to hear your final word. Imagine your choice as a solid wall rather than a screen door they can peek through. What would happen if you just said no and stopped talking right then and there? The moment you stop justifying yourself is the moment you reclaim your internal spirit and peace. Strong people make choices and own them without ever requiring the agreement or validation of others. They do not look for a nod of approval because their own conviction is more than enough. Are you ready to own your life and stop being a prisoner to everyone else's opinions? When you stand firm, you establish a boundary that communicates total respect over simple likability. But we know there are those who will still try to hammer away at your defenses. Toxic people are defined as those who continue pushing for an explanation after you've stated your choice. They don't want clarity. They want a crack in your armor so they can regain control. To these individuals, your boundary is just an invitation for them to start a new negotiation. This is where you deploy a tool to maintain your reaction control and stay completely unbothered. Instead of getting angry or repeating your reasons, use the most concise language possible to end it. The phrase, "because that's what I chose," is the ultimate shield against any further prying questions. It is a complete sentence that requires no follow-up and leaves no room for debate. It signals that your decision is a final destination, not a starting point for their input. By using these few words, you signal that their access to you and your thoughts is restricted. You are not begging for them to understand your perspective or agree with your personal values. You are simply stating a fact about your own reality that is not up for public discussion. This shift in communication forces them to deal with the consequences of your newfound silence. Watch how the dynamic changes when you stop providing the fuel for their constant emotional fire. Owning your choices means you no longer allow toxic people to push for further justification or detail. You become the authority in your own life, moving with a quiet confidence that others will notice. Remember, your choice is a solid wall. Do not turn it into a screen door by explaining. This is how you master the 3-second rule and keep your reaction control under tight lock. Once you truly own your choice, their external opinion becomes completely irrelevant to your inner peace. Have you ever realized that being liked by everyone might actually be a warning sign of something deeper? There is a massive, often ignored difference between being a truly good person and just being nice. Chronically nice behavior is frequently just a clever mask used to hide who you really are from others. Many people use this polite exterior as a shield to avoid any possible conflict with toxic people around. When you prioritize being liked by everyone, you are likely hiding your true identity behind a false persona. Do you find yourself constantly saying yes to others even when your entire soul is screaming no? This habit of people-pleasing creates a heavy burden that slowly erodes your sense of self and inner peace. We often believe that being nice will protect us, but it actually gives others unlimited access to you. Without firm boundaries, you become a target for those who thrive on controlling and manipulating your constant kindness. A good person has values and standards, whereas a nice person often just lacks the courage to disagree. True respect is worth significantly more than the shallow satisfaction of being liked by every single person. Reclaiming your power starts with reaction control and understanding that you do not need everyone's constant approval. Setting boundaries carries consequences, but those results are necessary for maintaining your personal integrity and mental health. Imagine the freedom of being completely unbothered by the opinions of those who do not truly respect you. Use the 3-second rule to pause before responding, ensuring your choice aligns with your true, authentic self. Choosing to be honest is not being rude. It is simply refusing to wear a mask anymore. Once you stop performing for others, your relationships will transform from shallow interactions into deep, respectful connections. Prioritizing respect over likability allows you to walk through the world with a newfound sense of quiet confidence. You are no longer a victim of circumstance when you choose truth over the safety of a smile. Shift your focus from being the person everyone likes to being the person you actually respect yourself. By dropping the act, you finally teach others exactly how to treat the real version of you. Now that we have redefined your worth, let's explore how to maintain this new level of authority. Ownership is the foundation, but step 3 is where you finally draw the line in the sand. We are often told that being the bigger person means tolerating disrespect, but that is a lie. If there is no price for treating you poorly, why would toxic people ever choose to stop? Think of your boundaries. Without real consequences, they are nothing more than polite suggestions to others. Would you honestly let a complete stranger kick your front door every single day without reacting? Accepting bad behavior without any repercussions teaches others that they can continue their mistreatment indefinitely. When you stay silent, you are inadvertently training people that your feelings simply do not matter. You essentially become a silent partner in your own mistreatment by allowing the cycle to repeat. Every time you excuse a slight, you reinforce the idea that their behavior is perfectly acceptable. Disrespect takes many forms, such as when someone chooses to talk down to you with condescension. It happens when people pointedly ignore you while you are speaking, dismissing your very presence. Bad behavior also includes the frustration of someone constantly canceling your plans at the last minute. Perhaps the most damaging form is when someone chooses to disrespect or humiliate you in public. These actions are not just mistakes. They are clear signals that your worth is being undervalued. The third vital step to stopping mistreatment is learning how to create consequences for bad behavior. You must transition from being liked by everyone to prioritizing your own self-respect over mere likability. This involves reclaiming your reaction control and becoming truly unbothered by their attempts to trigger you. Always remember that access to you is a privilege that should only be granted to those who respect you. If someone refuses to treat you with dignity, they must lose the privilege of your time and energy. Removing access to you is often the most powerful consequence you can ever impose on toxic people. Why are you teaching people that it is okay to disrespect you by staying exactly where you are? Stop asking why they are mean and start deciding what you will no longer tolerate in your life. This shift in authority ensures that you are no longer a target for those seeking an easy mark. You are not being mean. You are simply setting a price for the value of your presence. If there is no price for treating you poorly, why would they ever choose to stop? You do not need a loud argument to win. Instead, you need a quiet, strategic exit. You do not need to yell to show someone they have finally crossed a serious line. Your time and energy are valuable resources that you must protect from those who misuse them. Consequences can be established by pulling back quietly rather than resorting to yelling or fighting. What happens when the easy access they once had to you suddenly begins to disappear? Decreasing access to yourself is a powerful method of demonstrating that bad treatment has consequences. Start by taking much longer to respond to text messages from those who disrespect you. Let the silence do the talking while they wait for a reply that is no longer guaranteed. When asked for help or requested to hang out, simply state that you are busy. You do not need to provide an elaborate excuse or apologize for prioritizing your own schedule. Your actions will always speak louder than any lecture you could give about their behavior. If a store treats you poorly, you do not lecture the manager. You just stop shopping there. You must treat your presence like a luxury store that only allows respectful customers inside. People often improve their treatment when they realize they might actually lose access to you. Remaining unbothered while you withdraw creates a powerful psychological shift that demands respect over likability. By quietly conserving your internal spirit, you teach others that your energy is not for free. Remember the 3-second rule and use that pause to decide if they deserve your attention. Is your time a common commodity for everyone, or is it a luxury for the worthy? Training others to value you requires consistent action rather than repeating the same old complaints. As you become less available, you reclaim the power that toxic people once tried to steal. Your presence is a privilege, not a right, so start treating it like one today. Have you ever felt the urge to instantly reply to a text that actually made you angry? We often feel pressured to respond immediately, even when the person on the other side is disrespectful. But what if you stopped fighting with words and started using the power of your silence instead? You can establish firm consequences by pulling back quietly rather than engaging in another exhausting, loud argument. This shift begins by reclaiming control over your digital space and managing your response times with intention. When someone treats you poorly, they lose the right to have instant, unfettered access to your energy. Decreasing access to yourself is a powerful method to show others that bad treatment carries real consequences. Instead of lecturing them about their behavior, let your new distance do all the talking for you. We are moving away from words because actions speak much louder than any lecture ever could. Think about those non-urgent texts that pop up from the people who consistently drain your spirit. Instead of jumping to reply, try waiting 24 to 48 hours before you even hit send. This deliberate delay retrains their expectations and signals that you are no longer at their beck and call. You aren't being rude. You are simply prioritizing your peace over their demands for your immediate attention. Pulling back includes taking longer to respond to text messages as a way to protect your mental focus. This quiet pullback creates a boundary that forces them to reconsider how they approach you in the future. Imagine the shift in power when they realize they can no longer push your buttons for a reaction. By staying unbothered and silent, you demonstrate a level of self-respect that commands a different kind of response. This isn't about playing games. It is about valuing your time enough to choose who gets it. Every hour you wait is a reminder that your attention is a reward for positive, respectful behavior. Start this homework today and watch how the dynamic shifts when you finally stop being so available. When you stop reacting instantly, you take the fuel away from their fire and regain your dignity. This strategy isn't loud or aggressive, but it sends a message that is impossible for them to ignore. It tells them clearly that you are the one in control of your energy and your time. Mastering this digital boundary is a major step toward becoming truly unbothered by toxic people's antics. Take back your phone, take back your time, and start teaching people exactly how to treat you. But here's the hardest part, the part that keeps most people stuck in their toxic cycles. Toxic people have a secret radar for your need to be liked, and they use it constantly. Who is actually in control of your life if you cannot handle someone being mad at you? Being afraid of people not liking you allows others to own and control your every single move. The fear of being disliked is the leash toxic people use to lead you exactly where they want. Toxic individuals can instantly identify when someone is desperate for approval or avoids any form of conflict. You must realize that your desperation for a gold star makes you a prime target for manipulation. Are you an adult making your own choices, or are you still a child looking for validation? The essential fourth step in reclaiming your power is becoming completely comfortable with being disliked by others. Respect over likability must become your new internal mantra if you want to break free from predators. When you stop caring about their opinion, you take away the only weapon they have against you. They count on your social anxiety to keep you compliant and quiet when they cross your lines. A toxic person thrives when they know you will do almost anything just to keep the peace. Instead of reacting, use your reaction control to remain unbothered by their manufactured anger and drama. Remind yourself that access to you is a privilege, not a right they can simply demand. When they test you, stand firm and let the natural consequences of their behavior play out. Practice the silence of the 3-second rule to show you are not desperate to fill the void. Watch how they scramble when their usual emotional triggers no longer get a rise out of you. Being the villain in a toxic person's story usually means you finally started standing up for yourself. Their disapproval is actually a badge of honor that proves you are no longer under their control. Stop viewing their anger as a personal failure and start seeing it as their own internal frustration. If you are afraid of being the villain in their story, you will always be the victim. It is finally time to swap the hollow goal of popularity for the weight of a true identity. Would you rather be loved for someone you aren't, or respected for who you really are? If you are afraid of being the villain in their story, you will always be the victim. We often believe that being liked by everyone is a sign of a good and kind character. However, being universally liked can actually be a warning sign that you are hiding your true self. When everyone finds you agreeable, it usually means you have buried your own needs to please others. This performance involves saying yes to every demand even when your entire soul wants to say no. Every time you betray your own boundaries, you lose another piece of the person you truly are. Is being liked by every person you meet truly worth the cost of losing your own soul? Think of your personal boundaries like a filter in a pool, catching the junk before it sinks. Without these filters, toxic waste flows freely through your life, poisoning your peace and your progress. When you stop caring about being liked, a remarkable and immediate shift begins to happen around you. Toxic people often leave your life quickly because you have become far too difficult for them to manipulate. They thrive on your need for approval, using it as a leash to pull you wherever they want. Once you cut that leash, they lose interest and go searching for an easier target to control. You might worry about the empty seats at your table, but those spaces make room for respect. True respect is defined as something far more valuable than the fleeting high of being liked by everyone. While being liked is often about convenience, being respected is about the integrity of your character. Good people will value your honesty and your firm boundaries, even if they do not always agree. By choosing identity over people-pleasing, you naturally filter out the manipulators and attract those who matter. Why do we continue to value the opinions of people we do not even like or respect? It is time to reclaim your power and become completely unbothered by the judgment of the toxic. When you stop being a mirror for everyone else, you finally start to see your true self. This brings us to the final and most powerful shift in your journey of self-respect. The ultimate power move isn't winning the argument. It's not needing the conversation at all. What happens to your social dynamics when you no longer need anyone else to feel okay? The fifth and final step is showing the world that you are perfectly fine without them. It is a quiet internal shift where your happiness is no longer dependent on someone's approval. Toxic people expect you to chase them, but your independence disrupts their entire control game. Think of yourself like a flower that is already in full and vibrant bloom. You do not have to go looking for the bees because they will naturally find you. Being happy alone fundamentally changes how others treat you, shifting the power back into your hands. When you are unbothered by solitude, you suddenly become the person whose attention others deeply crave. Why does chasing someone always seem to make them run faster and respect you much less? Stop the pursuit and start cultivating a life that feels fulfilling even when you are alone. This is the peak of respect over likability, where your presence is earned, not given. Staying unbothered sends a loud message that your value is not up for public negotiation. If they cannot treat you with respect, they lose their access to your peaceful inner world. You have moved from being a mirror for others to being a solid, unshakable foundation, no more reacting or over-explaining. You are simply existing in your own powerful, quiet space. You are no longer a background character in their story, but the hero of your own. This independence transforms you from a seeker into a magnet for the right kind of people. When you are truly happy alone, you finally realize that you have become the ultimate prize. Ready for a reality check? Here is how you filter your life in just 7 days. Stop texting first for just 1 week and watch exactly what happens to your social circle. You have been the one driving every conversation and steering every plan for far too long. Friendship is a two-way street. If you are the only one driving, you are in a pursuit. Filtering your relationships begins by intentionally stopping the practice of always being the first to reach out. Stop making every plan and see if the silence that follows reveals a painful, necessary truth. Who is only in your life because you are doing all the heavy lifting right now? Many toxic people stay close simply because you provide them with easy access and constant attention. They do not value your character. They only value how convenient you make their daily lives. Without your constant pursuit, these individuals often vanish when they realize the free attention has stopped. Maintaining total reaction control and staying unbothered during this quiet period is your most powerful tool. Watch the notifications on your phone and resist the urge to fill the empty space with noise. Those who truly value you will eventually notice your absence and make a genuine effort to reach. Real connection requires mutual effort, and true friends will work to stay in your life regardless. When you stop chasing, you finally allow the people who care to prove their loyalty through action. Are you holding on to people who have already let go of you in their own minds? Setting this boundary is a natural consequence for those who take your presence for granted every day. Remember that choosing respect over likability means you no longer beg for a seat at any table. Be brave during this filtering process and trust that the right people will always find their way. Let the people who do not care fall away as you make room for those who do. Have you ever wondered what happens to a toxic circle when you finally walk away for good? For years, you were the silent engine providing the constant attention they needed to function daily. Toxic people often associate with others only because they are easy to access or provide validation. You were their reliable source of fuel, always ready to smooth over every awkward or tense moment. But when you decide that respect over likability is your new standard, everything begins to change. The moment you stop caring about being liked, you become incredibly difficult for them to manipulate. This shift in your identity creates a sudden vacuum that the toxic group cannot easily fill. Without your constant stream of validation, the group's fragile foundation starts to show deep, ugly cracks. Toxic individuals often find themselves lost when their primary source of easy attention suddenly disappears. They relied on your presence to mask the underlying tension and resentment they feel for each other. Now that you are gone, they are forced to face the toxic reality of their own connections. You might feel guilty for leaving, but remember that their behavior earned them this inevitable consequence. When you remove their access to you, you are protecting your peace and reclaiming your internal spirit. Watch from a distance as they scramble to find a new target to provide that missing attention. They will quickly realize that you are no longer the easy target they once thought you were. Your newfound reaction control makes you unbothered by their desperate attempts to pull you back in. Because you are now harder to manipulate, toxic people will eventually leave to find easier prey. The group dynamic collapses because it was never built on mutual respect or genuine human connection. You were the only thing holding them together, yet you were the one they disrespected most. Stepping away isn't just about a change in scenery. It is a powerful act of self-reclamation. Feel the weight lift as you realize you no longer have to manage their fragile, demanding egos. By choosing your own well-being, you have successfully filtered out those who never truly valued you. This is the moment your journey toward real self-respect becomes an undeniable, lived reality for you. Their chaos is no longer your problem, and their lack of control is no longer your burden. You have transformed from a people-pleaser into a person who commands respect through quiet, steady strength. Everything we have talked about today leads to this one final, life-altering transformation for you. Picture yourself a month from now. No more drama, no explanations, just pure, earned respect. Can you feel the difference in the air when you are no longer a target? It is like finally taking off a heavy backpack you didn't even know you were wearing. Wasn't it easier than you thought to reclaim the power you had once given away? By making these incremental changes, you have rebuilt your character from the inside out today. You stopped this cycle by identifying and fixing the specific behaviors that invited mistreatment first. Your new reaction control has effectively rewritten the rules of every social interaction you have. Being unbothered is no longer a mask. It is the core of your new, unshakable identity. Every time you use the 3-second rule, you reinforce your value to yourself and others. When you fix the behavior that invites mistreatment, mean people suddenly lose their interest in you. Their toxic games no longer work because you have removed the fuel they need to burn. They will stop their behavior simply because you are no longer a viable target for them. Toxic people thrive on reaction, but you have masterfully taken that weapon out of their hands. Without your participation, their insults and demands eventually wither away into total peaceful silence. But the real magic happens when you see how good people begin to treat you. Fixing behaviors that invite mistreatment results in better treatment from those who actually matter. Those who respect boundaries will lean in closer, drawn to your quiet and steady inner strength. You are finally trading the hollow goal of popularity for the weight of a true identity. This shift ensures that your access to you is now a privilege reserved for the worthy. You have learned that respect over likability is the ultimate currency in any healthy relationship. By setting consequences and holding them, you have trained the world how to value your presence. The drama has cleared, leaving space for genuine connections built on a foundation of mutual respect. Every boundary you set was a brick in the fortress of your new, empowered life. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are calmly and confidently directing it. Look back one last time at the version of you that used to get walked on. That version is officially gone, replaced by a person who commands respect through simple existence. Your journey from a people-pleaser to a person of power is now complete and permanent. Walk forward with your head high, knowing you own your time, your energy, and your peace. You have finally unlocked the life you deserve, and you did it all by yourself. Your journey to respect starts with a single choice, and that moment of decision begins right now. I want to hear which of these steps you are going to use first. Let us start now. Maybe you will start by applying the 3-second rule the next time someone tries to bait you. Or perhaps you are ready to reclaim your time by strictly limiting access to you from today. Are you ready to take your life back from the toxic people who have drained your energy? Real transformation does not happen overnight, but it does start with one small, brave act of defiance. What is stopping you from starting today and finally choosing your own peace over their constant drama? Think of this channel as your personal toolbox for building the high-value life you truly deserve. Every technique we discussed is a tool designed to help you master the art of reaction control. When you remain unbothered, you send a clear signal that your worth is no longer up for debate. You are finally prioritizing respect over likability, and that is where your true power begins to grow. Remember that enforcing consequences is not about being mean. It is about protecting your internal spirit. Try just one technique over the next 7 days and watch how the world begins to shift. If you found these strategies helpful, consider subscribing to join our community of strong, empowered individuals. We provide the blueprints you need to navigate difficult relationships and keep your boundaries rock solid. Do not let the lessons you learned today fade away as soon as you close this video. Commit to your growth by leaving a comment about which strategy you are testing out first. You have the strength to change your story, one boundary and one quiet exit at a time. Stay focused on your journey and keep building the identity that commands respect from everyone you meet. I am proud of the progress you are making, and I will see you in the next one.